Yeah, that will be. I don't swear during kids' classes.
What we're doing has value in people's lives. Pressure is what makes people better.
In that case, let's have some fun.
It's gonna be a great year for everybody. Everybody who wants it to be.
You think it's too cold for flip-flops?
See, I told you you're stupid.
I know. Well, you're just gonna have to get really good at bleeping, I think, because I don't know that I could really cut it out. Interestingly, that's also one of the things that Travis hangs his hat on, is that he doesn't ever swear until it's appropriate. I'm like, well, isn't it always appropriate to tell people how you really feel? But holy.
Almost everybody loses because of emotions. They don't stick to the game plan. Mentally they break. All those times a day where you could meditate, you play the movie. Let's go, it's all tied up. Whoever wins this round wins the fight. It's within everybody's grasp right here. You just have to mentally decide that you're going to push through and do better than the people around you right now. It's the last one. It'd be a shame to come this far and then give up this close to the finish line. Good job. Jason, can't be wrong, right? Ian, I'm no sap. Jed, you're dead. McDonald. Yeah, David Mean Streeter. Here we go. Jason, can't be wrong, right? Ginormous Johnson.
That is not a nickname.
Gin the Johnson Breaker.
That's not a nickname either.
Both of those are fantastic nicknames. If my name was Gin Johnson, there's no way that I would not have the fight name Ginormous Johnson. Right? Little disappointed that there was so many people missing. You'd think getting close like this that there would be panic and maybe like a little bit more fire to make sure that they were prepared and ready to go. I give them the benefit of the doubt, and I know that there are a lot of people sick. Hopefully they were so sick that they couldn't do cardio today. Otherwise, you don't regret anything that you prepared 100% for and tried your best, right? Like if you do that, there can be no regret. There's nothing else you could have done. But what I worry about with people is when they know that they could have maybe done a little bit more, and then that leads to regret. So I want to try to help these people avoid having regrets, and it's my job to provide a place for them, provide coaching for them, help them on their journey. But at the end of the day, they have to be able to intrinsically motivate themselves, get their ass out of bed, and show up, do work.
And that, right, don't do it. But you were doing it, and the less you can be afraid of it, the more centered in that movement, the less likely it is you'll hurt. The moment you panic is when everything starts to set in, and then you're screwed. I got kicked off of Facebook last night for cussing. Yeah. Facebook. Yeah, the Facebook police don't like my style. The discussion this month for the kids has been, what can you do with the team that you can't do by yourself, right? Because that's kind of what we're trying to instill in these kids, is help them understand that teamwork does make the dream work. We don't think of yoga as being a team practice. We don't think of it as being anything other than an individual sport that our doctor told us to do for our low back, or that we read in a magazine would help us with our sleepless nights, or yoga butts drive us nuts. You haven't heard that one? That's my new shirt. But I want you all to just look around and appreciate the people who are here, because not only do they bring their funny jokes, my mother-in-law included, but also the fact that we show up and we're all together in this room. It's more than just the energy or the ambiance. It's that you learn from each other. You learn from watching each other. You learn from each other because I learn from watching you individually, and that helps someone else in a different class in another part. When I say that yoga makes us better people and together we make the world a better place, a lot of that has to do with you guys all showing up. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a good team. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
It's a pretty neat program, and there's a lot of data out there now to go back and look and see like how this changed and affected people's life for a positive. Make sure on every sweep, even when you're just drilling it with no resistance, practice doesn't make perfect, okay? Perfect practice makes perfect. If you practice things wrong, you'll actually get better at being bad at them. And that's why most people quit jiu-jitsu, because it's the same thing. It's like everything else that's worth getting good at, it's hard.
For a lot of folks, it's really hard to open the front door.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. It's really hard to pick up the phone. It's hard to take that step of like, okay, I need some help with my kids, or I need some help with myself, or even I want to do something. I don't necessarily need any help. I just want to do something fun, and they don't really know what to expect. Especially if people have seen us associated with MMA fights or, you know, any of the martial arts, and they might have this idea that it's
can only be hardcore.
exactly, which isn't the case because I'm a little sweaty right now from jiu-jitsu class, so I don't consider myself hardcore. It's the same thing off the mat. This is what I love about yoga, and this is what I love about jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is just yoga with a resisting opponent, and yoga is just jiu-jitsu with the toughest opponent of all. And in both cases, it's almost comical that every lesson that we learn in jiu-jitsu, we can immediately apply to life. It just becomes this allegory for how we can live our life better. When you're in this position, or if we're on our feet, and I feel you like you go for a throw or you go for a takedown, but I feel the moment when you're like, I'm really not sure that I can do this, and so you just stop halfway. And then you're always, that never works for me. You never commit. You know what I mean? Like you don't ever actually commit. You're never all in, okay? So if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it all the way, right? You gotta follow through. You can't half-ass it, right? You have to actually, the first thing, you personally have to believe that it will work. Like if your attitude is, I don't think this is gonna work, or this doesn't feel quite right, well then it's, you know, your self-fulfilling prophecy. But instead, if you're like, I can do this every single time, like I'm just gonna run right through that dude, like I'm just gonna put a hole in him, then guess what? You come out the other side.